It's the final weekend of the season. Thank you very much for joining us throughout the year, and now for this final first practice session of the 2022 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. This is round 15, the 2022 Hanavank Seoul E-Prix. Brand new race circuit here. You've got the baseball stadium, the Olympic stadium all around this Jamshil Sports Complex, just to the southeast of the centre of Seoul. And we started the season all the way back in January with wins for Nick de Vries and Eduardo Mortara in Diriyah, Pascal Wehrlein winning in Mexico, double win for Evans in Rome, Van Dorn winning the jewel in the crown in Monaco, Mortara and de Vries taking the spoils in Berlin, Evans winning in Jakarta, Mortara in Morocco, Cassidy and Da Costa in the United States, and Jake Dennis and Lucas de Grassi last time out in London. So with just 2 more races to go, it is not going to be Nick de Vries who will retain his Formula E World Championship. He's not in the running. Eduardo Mortara for Rocket Venturi is 3rd in the standings. 2nd is Mitch Evans for Jaguar TCS Racing, but he is 36 points away from Stoffel Van Dorn. The Mercedes EQ driver is at the top of the standings and looking in control coming into this final weekend of the championship. His advantage, 36 points. Evans is 5 points clear of Eduardo Mortara. Jean-Eric Vergne is still technically in championship contention, but also basically isn't. Antonio Felix da Costa has always caught up with his teammate in 5th place for the DS Techeetah squad. De Grassi, after his win last time out, launches up into 6th place ahead of Robin Freins, who was one of the championship protagonists in the early stages of the season. Nick Cassidy, his envisioned teammate, picked up some good points over the last few races. Bird is 13th, Buemi is 14th, and Antonio Giovinazzi is the only driver yet to get off the mark in terms of points so far this season, because Sergio Sedecamera picked up 2 for Dragon. He's in 11th, or they are in 11th in the standings. They're still 5 points behind Neo, so if they want to get up into that 10th place, they're going to need a big haul. It's pretty close up at the top, but again, Mercedes EQ looking in control. My name is Jack Nicholls. Alongside me is the 1984 Junior Karting Champion of Scotland, Dario Franchitti. And this is this brand new circuit, Dario.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Jack. 2.6 kilometres, 22 turns threading between the stadiums. It gets immediately interesting. Turn 1, it narrows down in the braking zone. 2-3 taking us 1 corner. Chicane 5 and 6. Then it's down at ramp into the stadium. 9, 10, 11, 12, past attack mode, 13, all right-handers, all torturing the tyres. Turn 16, the track is wider again, a lot more fast and flowing from here. Turns 20 and 21, double apex right-hander, massive bumps in the middle. That's going to be really tricky today. After 21, a long straight into the main overtaking chance in turn 22, across the finish line. And that is a lap of the track where the World Championship will be decided.
Certainly is a really, really cool circuit, this, a really interesting layout, and here's a look at it now. Track temperature at the moment, 27 degrees, air temperature the same, probability of rain 17% at the moment, but that is anticipated to go up a little bit later on this afternoon. Obviously, you may have seen on the news some big floods hitting Seoul over the last week or so. Eduardo Mortara, 3rd in the championship standings for the Rocket Venturi team. He's only picked up 4 points in the last 4 races. He picked up 89 in the previous 4 to that. So really tough run of form for Mortara, and he needs to kind of get himself out of that rut, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely right. Unfortunately for Mortara, for Evans, I think it's kind of out of their control. They can't, even if they win the race, they need Van Dorn to have a really bad day, not only today, but tomorrow as well.
There is Evans, retired from 4th place in the 2nd race in London, which was a big swing. Stoffel Van Dorn, new helmet for this weekend, as this is his final race with Mercedes EQ. Light goes green, and we'll see who's heading straight out. The 2 DS Techeetahs head out. Da Costa, followed by Jean-Eric Vergne. I love that angle. It looks like they're coming straight at us, doesn't it? Then Freins and Cassidy as they come out onto the circuit, looping back around through turns 2 and 3, and then heading down to the right-hander at turn 4 by the baseball stadium.
I think we might have a game today every time we say the word rain.
Yeah.
But you can see all these painted lines around the circuit. Oh, this is car park for the stadiums normally. Those will be like ice if it does rain this afternoon. So you're going to have problems, puddles for aquaplaning, and then those lines again, like absolute ice. So that just makes the chance of a mistake from any of these drivers that much greater. This is them inside the stadium, turn 10. There's the attack mode activation zone off to the right-hand side between 11 and 12. Look at the size of that stadium. It's quite something.
The attack mode is not going to cost you too much time here.
I don't see it. I don't see going offline. It's not going to be a massive, a massive cost of time to take it. But when they converge in turn 12, I think it's going to probably get pretty exciting inside the stadium. Now, this is the section of the track. It's up to turn 19, where it's a lot more fast and flowing. Wait till you see the bumps coming up here in turn 20 and 21. So there's a couple of bumps there, and then just after this camera angle at the apex, there's a big dip, and then there's a manhole cover right on the line.
This is Olympic Way coming down into turn 22, and then across the line. That's the timing line there, and we start another lap down in towards turn 1. Watching Jean-Eric Verne and Robin Freitz coming through the first corner, and the Envision driver chasing down Verne. They come through the double left and then into the right-hander again at the baseball stadium. Freitz, as I said a moment ago, was in contention after the first few races. We're on board with Verne now as he comes through the chicane and now out into this 1988 Olympic Stadium. A lot of right-hand turns.
Yeah, but in the race this afternoon, the tyres are going to be really upset by about this point. As you're doing it lap after lap. And in 14, the wall comes up in a hurry on exit. You see it narrowing down, upper ramp through 15. And this is the point where it all changes, turns 16 a lot quicker. Look how much wider it is now. Kick left, 17. Doesn't look easy, flat. Bit of a lift in 18, yeah. With the bumps in the brake of 19. No curves there, so you're going to be pretty accurate with the car positioning. This is this double apex right. Wait to see the bumps. Yeah, they don't look too bad actually. Wait till they start going really at speed. I think it's going to be. I think the limiting factor is literally how hard you hit the bumps.
Yeah.
This is the start line. Coming up to 22. Turn 22 is actually the first corner they're going to see off the start today, and that looks like a really good overtaking chance.
Attention all teams, attention all teams. This is race control. Full course yellow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, full course yellow.
So full course yellow from Scott Elkins, the race director, just to put everything through its testing periods, and we'll see hopefully not too many full course yellows over the course of the race later on today, but not been a huge amount of motorsport in South Korea over the years. There was the Grand Prix that ran for 3 seasons or so, I think, maybe 4. But apart from that, it's not a huge motorsport country, so exciting to have Formula E here and see the passion.
Full course yellow ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag, green flag.
Green flag. Freitz gets back on his way in the stadium. That's going to be the podium there on the right-hand side as well. As here comes Mitch Evans in the Jaguar. Down into the right-hander of turn 1. And then that swing back to the right is quite interesting.
Yeah, you see him crossing the pit exit line. Now, he could do that if he's on track, but if you're in pit exit, you cannot cross from the pit exit lane onto the track, but you can certainly do it the other way. This is great. Now through turn 5 into 6. Look how much tighter it gets down the ramp. They hear braking traction. Turn through 8, coming up to 9. Tightens up at 10. Immediately into 11. Listen to playing with the throttle the whole way through there, just keeping momentum up, just not braking, just lifting off the throttle to control the slide really. Over that bump in 15, I like that. That's anytime the wheels leave the ground, I think it's pretty cool. Turn 16, out through the kink. 17, you hear the car hitting the ground. Yeah, a bit of bottoming there. Lots of different surfaces. Really running a lot of speed into 19.
Evans was very excited to get out on track. Spoke to him on Thursday, and he said really enjoyed this track in the sim. It looks really cool.
I feel for Evans. You know, again, last year he put himself in position to win the championship and had the inverter fail. Then again in London, same thing happened. He put himself in a good position. Him and Stoffel van Dorn were sort of shadowing each other up through the field in the second race, and the car broke. So tough for him, tough for Jaguar. Not as tough though as it is for Sam Bird. We see Norman Nato in the number 10 car this weekend. Sam broke his wrist, or his hand, sorry, very early in the race in London. Did the rest of the race with a broken hand, and had to have surgery, have a rod inserted. So he's not here this weekend. The first race, he's going to miss the first Formula E race. He's one of only the two, I think, him and Lucas de Grassi, who have done all the races, and we come up to the 100th race this weekend.
Yeah, just Lucas now, and de Grassi, it was actually announced yesterday, will be joining Mahindra. That's James Barclay, team principal of Jaguar. And because I actually asked Roger Griffiths in the week, was he surprised?
Team principal of
Avalanche Andretti. Was he surprised that Jaguar had a... Because it's quite rare to see a car break down in Formula E. And was he surprised? He said, well, yes and no. Obviously, yeah, it's quite rare to see a breakdown. But actually, all the teams are getting quite tight on their parts. And a lot of the parts... Because there's only a certain amount of things you can use over the course of the year, like in a lot of motorsport these days. And you're getting to the end of parts' lives currently.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can make them very robust and they last forever, but then they start to weigh a lot, and that's not what racing's about. So you absolutely go as close to the edge as you can with those. And you don't know as well, has it been crashed? You know, that's the other thing. If there's been an impact to something like an inverter, does it do some damage that can you know, catch up to you later on? But either way, really tough for Mitch Evans, really tough for the Jaguar TCS team.
So Oliver Rowland in the Mahindra, heading out onto the circuit now, after he ended up crashing out in both races yesterday. And in London, sorry, yeah. And his teammate next year will be Lucas de Grassi. Announced yesterday that de Grassi joining Rowland at Mahindra for next season.
One of the worst kept secrets in motorsport.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, interesting that Lucas only did the 1 year with the Venturi team, soon to be the Maserati team next year, and he's taken on a new challenge at Mahindra. And I think he'll be, you know, I think Lucas, the way his brain works, you see him hitting the bumps in turn 20, 21. The way Lucas's brain works, he's really going to be involved in the development of the Mahindra team, trying to get them up 9th in the points this year for the Mahindra team. They expect a lot more than that, so he's going to be really involved in pushing the whole team.
I think the pushing is the big thing. Rowland said to me that he's looking forward to having Lucas come in and be, you know, pretty punchy about the direction he thinks things should go. And I said that to Dilbag Gill yesterday evening, and he said, yeah, completely agree. You know, that's sort of what part of the reason that we want Lucas in the team. You can see the brake discs glowing there on Sebastian Buemi's Nissan. But yeah, Dilbag saying that's part of the reason we want him in the team, is for that kind of punchiness and drive. Yeah, that was one thing Alan McNish said when Alan was the team principal at the Audi team and Lucas drove there. He said, you know, Lucas he's very opinionated, and that is a great thing to push on a team, especially, you know, and one of the teams that maybe needs a bit of help getting back to form. Oliver Askew in the Andretti got his best result of his Formula E career so far in London in the first race with a 4th place finish. Retired in the second race, but his qualifying's been a little better, Oliver Askew, over the last couple of races, really, because I think he had a reasonable qualifying in New York. Didn't he make it through the duels?
I believe he did.
Yes, 7th for the first race. Oh no, sorry, Marrakesh. It was 7th in Marrakesh, 9th in New York, and then 5th and 8th in the 2 races in London. Not a huge amount of points to show for it, but signs of progress for Askew as we go on board with the Andretti man now, the man from Florida, overtaking all the regular cars on the road, as you'd expect, and turning right onto Olympic Way and back down towards turn 22.
It's been a tough rookie season for Oliver Askew. That 4th place finish was really great to see for him. And yeah, I'm not sure it's been confirmed yet what he's doing next year. It'd be lovely to see him back in the championship, because I think he's shown some real turns of speed.
Here we go, driver's eye with de Grassi as he tries to get it stopped into turn 1.
De Grassi's on full power already.
Yeah, so de Grassi's gone full power with about 10 minutes gone in the session, but obviously feeling confident. Comes down towards the Garden chicane.
This first part of the circuit is so tight and technical, and you really got to just manage the limits of the car, one way, then the other, and then you get onto that second part of the track, and it feels almost like a different circuit.
Oh, not much grip there for Di Grassi.
No, and it's lovely and smooth actually in the stadium section, and then as you can see here, it gets far from smooth on the streets of Seoul. The biggest thing I'm thinking about right now is actually the drainage this afternoon, how much drainage is going to be in case that rain does come, how much, because the rain can tend to get collected between the walls and funnel it down, so hopefully there's enough drainage.
Scott Elkins told me this morning it wasn't too bad. He's been here since Sunday, so he was at the track when we had the big storms in Seoul, sort of Monday and Tuesday, and he said the drainage wasn't too bad, so if you just have to wait and let it drain away a bit, that is doable, but we'll see. Di Grassi coming down into 22, and then out across the timing line.
Oh, it hit the wall. Sure, he hit the wall coming off the 22. Let's have a look at the left-hand side of the car.
He goes fourth quickest on a 1 minute 24.195, Di Grassi. Verne and Da Costa, the two quickest drivers at the moment. Askew starts another lap, having just done a cool-down lap, and is in 12th spot as we go back with Di Grassi coming into the stadium.
I don't think, if he has hit the wall, here we go, just listen to the noise.
Oh,
yeah, I think he did.
Tiniest of brushes, wasn't it?
Yeah, accuracy.
Exactly.
I'd hate to have, I mean, Lucas is an unbelievable driver. I'd hate to have his damage bill. Because every weekend, even when he's winning races, the nose is sort of stoved in, and he really takes advantage of the limits of the car, shall we say. See Da Costa through 14.
So the first sector happens basically halfway through the stadium, just before the attack mode activation zone, and then the second sector comes just after turn 19. So there's only 2 corners in the final sector, where there are 9 in the first sector. So that's going to be almost where the biggest time is won and lost. Da Costa almost a quarter of a second up on Pascal Wehrlein as he comes into turn 20.
Turn 20, Jack, if I'm looking at this from a driver's perspective, turn 20 is that point where I think if I can get the car working over those entry bumps, if I can be just that little braver on the way in, I think there's a lot of time to be gained or lost in that area.
Da Costa to the top of the times, a 23.674, quicker than Wehrlein, who had jumped there for a moment in the Porsche. Verne is back in the pits. He set the fastest first sector of anyone. Here's Stoffel van Dorn going past the... No, sorry, it's Mortara.
Oh, crikey.
So it was Mortara trying to get past Buemi, and then Van Dorn arrived on the scene with everybody backing up. As Mortara was sort of, I think, trying to keep out of the way, but a little bit too late. And Van Dorn was also kind of having his own incident at the same time.
You see him pressing his left thumb going onto the radio button there, probably telling them what he thought of that whole incident.
Brees leaves the pits.
That's a tight right-hander for De Vries out of the pits. He's got the first pit in pit lane, being the reigning champion, at least for another couple of days.
What's it like losing a title? Like when you are reigning champion and then you're not the champion? Did you never have it? You must have had it.
11.
11, yeah.
Because 7 I went to NASCAR for 8.
Okay.
And then 9, 10, 11. And then 12. It sucked. It was crap. It's a horrible feeling. You know, the 12 one we had the Indy 500 win to sort of cushion the blow a wee bit. But yeah, it's the hardest thing, and I think Jean-Eric talked about this recently, is the motivation to keep going. You've won the championship. It's like, right, that was quite good. Everybody relaxes a bit, mission accomplished, but you've got to keep pushing. You want to do 2, and then 3, and then 4. And to do that on the bounce, it's not just you as a driver, it's every member of the team continuing to have the hunger to do what it takes, to just do that extra little bit of work. Because everybody in pit lane's working hard. You just got to work a bit harder.
Cassidy to the top of the times. We're watching Sergio Sede Camera now, coming down in towards turn 19. And then there is the second sector split line here, and he is only 200ths down on Cassidy after the first 2 sectors. Sete Camera, who Had a great time in qualifying anyway in the first race in London. His teammate Giovinazzi did a great job in the second race in London. As we come down into turn 22.
I reckon Seti Camera's the man to do what I was talking about in turn 2021 to absolutely push the limit on the way in there.
So is there a bump also? He's gone to the top of the times. Is there a bump on that timing line? Because some people are coming out of 22 and then going quite dramatically to the right-hand side here. There, see, Dennis does it as well.
Yeah, there's a massive bump on that surface change.
Right.
I mean, not little. It's monstrous. We saw that on track walk yesterday, and we kind of all went.
Roger Griffiths, who had a great weekend for the Andretti team with Dennis a first and a second. Here, down Olympic Way comes Stoffel Van Dorn, side by side with Alexander Sims. Van Dorn backing off and setting up for a lap. Don't think it's going to be full power, but it's going to be a push 220 kilowatt lap here for Stoffel Van Dorn. Here we go, driver's eye, down in towards turn 1.
Look how it narrows down into 1. This is the age-old question as well. We talk about group qualifying at 220 kilowatts, and then if you make it through, you get into the duels at 250, but you've got to get through there first. So these 220 kilowatt laps are absolutely critical through turn 4. See how much Kirby uses in 5, if any. It's a lot quicker, 5-6, than I thought it would be. Down the ramp, through 7, to the stadium. Don't get distracted by all the seats. Attack mode on your right, traffic all over the place. Good job of whoever that was, getting out of the way. Look how much it narrows down, 14, the car's gonna go airborne. Not so good job by I think it's the Dragon in front, is it? Yep. Held up just a little bit though. Snap of oversteer in the kink of 18, or 17 actually.
Quite a big first sector for Van Dorn, almost 3 tenths up on Seti Camera. We'll get another split here.
Missed the apex in 19.
He's now 2 tenths up.
Yeah, Vern's 3 tenths up. We want to lap the other side of the circuit. Whoa, several goes at getting the car turned into 2021. This is such a tempting place to just brake a fraction late into 22, the last corner. There you go, you hear the car hitting the ground.
So Van Dorn goes second quickest. Jean-Eric Verne did go to the top of the times on a 23.066. Van Dorn second, Seti Camera third. And here is Evans now, who's full power. And he's just starting. He's in the first sector now, Mitch Evans.
I mean, Mitch is quite simple, isn't it? He's going to qualify up front. He really needs to grab those 3 points for pole position. And he needs just maximum points to the fastest lap, pole position, win the race. That's all he can do. The rest of it is out with his hands. And looking at the way he's driving, he's pushing the absolute limits.
300s down on Verne in sector 1. Van Dorn was complaining about hot brakes on his in lap there.
Wonder if they were taped off for qualifying run.
Evans now out through 16. He's got Buemi up ahead of him. Flashing through into turn 19, then we'll get the next sector. Big slide from Evans. He's 2 tenths down now on Dennis, who's at the top of the times.
Dennis firing in a big lap, very good. The Jaguar running very well over the bumps in 20 and 21. See what it's like on the brakes into 22. Oh, it's a big bump just before the braking zone. Bit of understeer, the front of the car sliding out of the last corner.
And Evans remains in 6th place, 4 tenths down on Jake Dennis. That was a Porsche he was behind, by the way, Mitch Evans. If you were a bit confused coming out of the final corner, here's the slide at 19.
Yes! You hear the crowd appreciating that.
I thought that was you making that noise, but it wasn't. It was the crowd.
Fantastic. It should be glad to know that people are appreciating his efforts.
Absolutely. Here is the DS Techeetah of Jean-Eric Verne. He is a 10th down in sector 1. Whoa, bit of a lock into 16.
Look how dusty it is, just slightly offline. I mean, he was probably 10 centimeters offline, and you saw the dust kick up.
Race control. Just a quick reminder. At turn 22, just make sure your drivers are mindful of cars on their fast laps when they're trying to gap. We're seeing a lot of guys slowing on the racing line, and we'd like to adjust that, please.
See, that's good stuff from Scott Elkins.
Yeah.
You know, he could be just wait, let everybody do it and give them penalties. He's like, come on, guys, let's work together. Let's, you know, good on Scott. That's good to hear. It was one of the Avalanche Andretti's just starting a lap.
Vern across the line, and he does not improve in the end. Half a second away from Jake Dennis. Verline's 4 tenths up after the middle sector. Now goes to the top on a 22.197. Here's Stoffel Van Dorn at full power. Fourth currently, 4 tenths away from Verline. Does he improve on this lap? He does not. Oh, yes, he does. Sorry, he goes up into second place at 122.786, but still 6 tenths down on Verline. Verline's, look at the gaps there on the left-hand side. Verline's gap is huge.
He's found a shortcut.
Yeah. Nato, Cassidy, Da Costa getting out of the way of Askew.
Nato 11th, quickest so far. Big ask for Norman Nato this weekend, coming into the Jaguar. Not really, he's done a lot of simulator time for the Jaguar team as their reserve driver, but a big ask. The one good thing he's got going for him, this is new track for everybody, and obviously he's got a season of Formula E with the Venturi team last year under his belt. Poor Askew skimmed the wall out of 22.
Goes 5th quickest. A couple of tenths slower than his teammate Jake Dennis.
Roger Griffiths perspiring in the garage.
8 minutes on the clock. De Vries 14th quickest at the moment. Da Costa is at full power now. He's coming through the first sector. Comes into the stadium now. Get his first sector split here, and he's a 10th away from Verline in sector 1. Now out of the stadium.
I think that turn 14 is going to catch someone out today. The wall just comes up too quickly. Bit of oversteer through 16. I think this section today in the race there'll be a bit of slipstreaming going on. People trying to save a bit of energy through this sector of the track. It's a medium energy track. I mean, it's sort of not crazy, not like a Mexico City, which just uses a horrendous amount of energy, but not like London, where it doesn't use much energy at all. So you'll see the usual lifting and coasting, a lot of regenerating going on, which then brings in battery temperatures because it is so hot outside. Ooh, a lot of lockup from Da Costa. Wow, he braked. That was him just trying to find a limit, I think, on the braking, and found it and exceeded it.
Still goes up to 4th quickest, Da Costa, even with that error in the final corner. Ahead of his teammate Jean-Eric Verne. Fiesta Sheeta just looking for some pace after they had none in London last time out. Van Dorn back in the pit lane. Van Dorn back out of the pit lane. And here's a look at Eduardo Mortara. Trying to get past Buemi. Oh! Almost contact into turn 16.
In Buemi's defense, you cannot see anything with these flips above the rear wheels and from the mirror. So you really need your team. You see the international driver gesture for. What was that all about?
Felt like a bit of an odd place to lunge it as well for Mortara.
Well, Buemi looked like he was going so slowly. I think Buemi was on Mortara was on a lap, so Buemi was going so slowly. But yeah, Buemi, at that point you need your team to really be on it and tell you what's going on behind.
Here is Buemi. He's 4 tenths down after the first 2 sectors. This could be a top 3 lap here for Buemi. Here he comes across the line. It's second in the Nissan. There was a bit of pace in the Nissan as well last time out in London. Buemi 6th on the second day. De Grassi, race winner last time out. 10th at the moment.
It was his birthday a couple of days ago.
It was. We've had a lot of birthdays. We had Robin Freitz's birthday, as if by magic.
Look at that.
Look at that, it's television for you. It was Robin Freitz's birthday. Oliver Rowland turned 30.
He did, number 30 turned 30.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, De Grassi as well.
De Grassi had that crazy electric scooter that he had on pit lane yesterday. It was able to do massive burnouts. It does like 100 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. He was saying to you and I, do you want to go for a ride?
No.
Absolutely not. Thank you, though.
Oh, I didn't realise it was so fast. Maybe I would have given it a go.
I'll pay money to see it. You can borrow my helmet.
Okay, great. Done. It's a done deal. Do you think it was his birthday present?
I think it was, actually.
Really?
I do think it was, yeah. I think somebody gave him it as a birthday present.
Oh, lovely. Here is Robin Freitz. He is 3/10 down in the first sector in the Envision. His teammate Cassidy is 11th quickest at the moment through turn 19 for the Dutchman. He's now 4/10 down. Still could be sort of top 6-ish here if he has a nice couple of final corners.
Yeah, I missed the entry a bit into over the bumps in turn 20. Of course, hammer in the deck. Look how much the car squatted on the front as he hit the brake pedal.
Out across the line, and Freins goes third. 6/10 away, but still that lap time from Verline is pretty big, although Mortara is actually beating it. Roland has got him into second place in the Mahindra.
Mortara's 3/10 up. I mean, there'll be some track evolution, obviously, but that is mighty first sector.
Van Doorn's ahead of him on the road and is a 10.5 up on Pascal Verline. Into turn 20.
Oh, the Mercedes looks really good. The tyres staying in contact with the road over all those bumps.
Giovinazzi pings it up into 5th place. Mortara's now 4/10 up after the middle sector. Here comes Van Doorn across the line first of all. He goes quickest, a 1:22.000. There was a phrase I heard someone use the other day when it was like a 1:22 dead, but it wasn't dead, it was evens. A 1:22 evens.
Was that in America?
It was in America, I heard it, and I was like,
I was going to say
what's going on here? And look at that, Mortara goes only 100th slower than Van Doorn.
Now, this is so important today. Practice 1, free practice 2 is so important, because if free practice 2 is rained out and qualifying is rained out, this sets the starting grid for today's race. You know, so if free practice 2 work happens, qualifying's rained out, that sets the starting grid. So, you know, you've got to be right up front in every single session today, just in case the rain comes. Because if the rain does come, I don't think it'll be a couple of drops.
No. Dennis coming into turn 20, back out onto Olympic Way. We saw the Mahindra getting out of his way. De Vries jumps up into 3rd place. Dennis, after the first 2 sectors, is 800ths away from Stoffel Van Doorn. Comes across the line and goes into 4th position. Verne has done a good first sector, so is De Grassi, so is Evans. So plenty of lap times coming in these finals. Only 2 minutes to go already.
And Lotterer's only done 10 laps in the session. He's slowest of anybody right now. I wonder what's going on down in the Porsche garage.
Yeah, he's just left the pits. I'll see if I can find out.
You see Verne. Absolutely on it as he comes up to 19. Still see the marks left by Mitch Evans earlier in the session, but lots of traffic now for Verne. That's not going to cost him any lap time though. See the back of the car just sliding on entry. See if these guys get out of his way. Wemmy ahead looking in his mirrors. Yeah, I think Jean-Eric got away with that one. I think he managed to not really get held up by any of the traffic.
Verne goes 5th, loses a 10th or so in the final sector compared to Stoffel Van Doorn up at the top. Oliver Askew's done a reasonable sector 1. The top 8 cars are separated by less than 2/10 of a second. With 1:10 on the clock. Here's a look at Jean-Eric Verne.
This is fantastic. Look at the speed he's carrying through there.
Oh.
Not only is it bumpy, but it's dusty.
Less than a minute to go. Sete Camera, De Costa's done a good sector 1. And here is the Portuguese man.
Oh, had to lift there. You saw the lines left by the back tyres. Oh, he's missed he's overdone it in 19. Turn 19 there, just.
Turn 18's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that one. The whole track's cool.
Yeah.
Verline on another lap. He's a 10.5 up through the first sector already.
Evans has also done a very good first sector. Here comes De Costa. 10th or so away after making that mistake, right up to the wall on the exit. And De Costa goes up into 11th place and then locks up into turn 1. So scrappy stuff from De Costa. Now we're on board with Evans. Down Olympic Way. Verline is 2/10 up after the first 2 sectors. Nato's done a reasonable sector 1. Evans is almost 4/10 adrift. Here he comes across the line. 12th place for Mitch Evans. First driver to take the checkered flag. Only free practice 1. Verline lost a lot of time in the final sector, so doesn't improve. Here comes Norman Nato. Gunter goes up into 9th place. Nato's a quarter of a second away after the first 2 sectors, so maybe into the top 10 here for Nato. Might be ahead of Evans, which would be quite an impressive lap, and he does go ahead of Evans. A 22.3 for Norman Nato, the Frenchman from Cannes, making his first appearance for the Jaguar team. Giovinazzi's done a reasonable first sector. I don't think Cassidy started a lap. No, Cassidy hasn't started a lap. Well, he's on it now, isn't he? Coming through. Well, it's a second away after the middle sector, so that's why I was confused, because it's just not very quick from Cassidy. He's at full power, but he ain't going quickly. Here he comes across the line, and Cassidy remains third quickest.
Something to consider. A car that works well through the first sector might not work so well through sectors 2 and 3, just because of the nature of the tight, twisty part of the first sector, and how open and sort of fast and flowing it is through the second and third sectors. And that, obviously, the opposite is true. So I think to get a car working through all the sectors, which you've got to think that Stoffel van Dorn has managed that, and Edo Mortara is not an easy thing to do.
So session concludes. Okay, right from race control, please remember that after you take your practice start, please complete another full lap. Complete another full lap, thanks.
So that's because the practice grid, not the practice grid, the start grid is basically the corner before the pit lane entry, or the straight before the pit lane entry. So I guess they don't want people doing a practice start and then diving into the left there and straight into pit entry. This is the new Porsche livery for the weekend, by the way, on Pascal Wehrlein here on the left-hand side, to sort of be in conjunction with a new watch that Tag Heuer are releasing. So new special livery for Porsche as a bit of a one-off this weekend. Wehrlein not getting off the line. Don't know if he's got a problem, but he went through 2 light cycles before then departing. Well, not departing yet. Let's see if he goes this time on the left.
No. His head looks like it's down in the cockpit a bit. I mean, Pascal sits with his head quite forward anyway, but it looks like he's down looking at the dash, looking at the switches, trying to refire the car, as it were.
There we go. He's got away now. There go the 2 Porsches, Wehrlein and Lotterer. Almost, they're very difficult to tell apart this weekend, which I'm already quite stressed about.
Yeah, thanks, Porsche. Appreciate that.
Yeah, lovely.
Even the helmets.
Yeah. Lovely new livery, but we've not done anything different between the 2 cars and given them both new helmets that are the
Shall
same.
we go get a spray can and do our own?
Yeah, absolutely. Just some
luminous yellow paint on the halo or something.
Basically graffiti Formula E cars.
Yeah, why not?
They did that actually before the Formula E race in London, didn't they? That great sort of show car, as it were.
Yeah.
Frighten's heading down towards turn 1. You can see we are very much on the real roads with oh, Robin, he's not followed the rules.
Yeah, but did he practice his start? I think he might have just not practiced the start and pulled in. I think he might be all right.
We'll see. We'll see.
This is the other thing, you're practicing, you're not just the start, but the braking point for turn 1. That was odd.
I think that's just a cost of messing around, most likely. We've seen him do a lot of fights on in-store laps. Let's go down to Derrida Tossier, who's in the pit lane.
James, now, first session of the day done and dusted, however, not looking very strong for Mitch currently, half a second slower. Could you tell us what went on there?
Oh, it's just very early days, it's free practice 1, so yeah, you've learned very quickly not to get carried away by the result FP1. It's always good, of course, to end well. We're trying a slightly different run plan. What you're doing with your tyres is different, so you can have an offset strategy. But from our point of view, yeah, a good opening session for Norman. A few things on Mitch's side we need to work on, but that's normal. This is FP1, long way to go.
Amazing, thank you, good luck.
So, yeah, not getting too carried away, James Barkley, but it's quite a big adriftness in the early stages. But we'll see. His Evans was a 10th away in sector 1, 2/10 in sector 2, and 2/10 in sector 3. So sort of a little bit everywhere. But it's Stoffel van Dorn who ends the first free practice session quickest here in Seoul. Eduardo Mortara second, Cassidy third, De Grassi, Verne the top 5, De Vries, Dennis, Wehrlein, Gunter, Norman Nato. Fair play, Norman Nato. That's actually a really good job from the Frenchman who won the last race of last season for Venturi. Roland's completing the top 11. Askew, Buemi, Turvey, Evans down in 15th place, Costa in 16th, Lotterer down in 22nd position. As Dario said, in the end he got 12 laps in, but some of the others did sort of 18, so don't know exactly what went on with Andre Lotterer, but there we go. As we look down at the Jamshil Sports Complex again, great. It's just got a bit of everything, this circuit. It's got actual road course, actual street track. It's got into a stadium. It's got a sort of complex vibe where you're not shutting down all the traffic. It's just got a little bit of everything as Wehrlein hauls himself out of the Porsche.
The only way I think it could be better,
oh yeah,
is if they change the stadium to have an overtaking chance in the stadium, so that all the fans could see. I think you got obviously attack mode, which will be pretty interesting in there, but if there was an overtaking chance, maybe reprofile it a bit, that'd be pretty cool.
I think that they're sort of a little limited with sort of the grass on the infield and stuff like that.
Quite a historic bunch of ground
exactly.
in there.
So Stoffel Van Dorn, I mean, when you're going for a championship, and James Barkley said there, oh, you can't get too excited about free practice one, but when you're championship leader, 36 points ahead, and you top FP1, I think you're going to be a happy chappy. And he will be a happy chappy if he gets fan boost as well, Stoffel Van Dorn. Perhaps a foregone conclusion, considering he's had it every race so far this year. But he is at the top. Mortara up there too, Evans up there too, De Costa and De Grassi, the rest of the top 5. You can vote online at fiaformula.com/fanboost or scan the QR code to give your favourite driver a power boost in the second half of the race. So, the first ever session around Seoul's Olympic Park for the Hannah Seoul E-Prix got underway with Diaz Techeetah heading straight out, Jean-Eric Verne and Antonio Felix da Costa. They set the pace in the early stages and were running 1-2, although Verne ended up slipping down to 5th. Van Dorn always ploughed into the back of Eduardo Mortara down at turn 22 as everybody was trying to get out of the way of each other and get some space for a new lap. Mitch Evans only finished the session down in 15th position in the Jaguar. Not helped by that lovely slide coming through the right-hander of turn 19. Mortara was trying to get ahead of Buemi. The two Swiss almost collided. Happily they didn't. Mortara was looking quick. Ended the session second quickest on a 1 minute 22.013. And the Mercedes EQs, though, are looking strong because it was Stoffel Van Dorn who, with a 1 minute 22.000, set the quickest time in free practice one. New helmet for this weekend. Danker on the front, thanking the Mercedes team as they leave the championship at the end of this weekend. But Van Dorn doing everything he can to leave it as champion. Technical issue for the Porsche of Andre Lotterer. They're still investigating a sensor or a cable problem in that Tag Heuer Porsche, so that's why he didn't get much lap time in. Mitch Evans chatting to his race engineer, Josep Roca. That tends to be the sort of understeer signal there. As Eduardo Mortara looking nice and warm after his run to second quickest. What can he do in free practice 2? Join us in an hour or so.